Hi, my name is Emily. I work for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Western Pennsylvania. I mostly work with teens, but on the side, I am also a registered yoga teacher. And so I'm making this video to teach you all a little bit of the basics of what is yoga. Now, I'm sure most of us have heard of yoga. Sometimes I think we think of yoga as stretching or exercise, and you have to be really flexible to do yoga. And I'm here to tell you that those things are not true. It can be exercise if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. So a little background. Yoga comes from ancient India. It is part of the Hindu religion. And there are many different types of yoga. I practice and am trained in what is called Raja Yoga. And so Raja Yoga is really about integrating all 8 parts of yoga. No matter what type of yoga you do, there are always 8 parts, but some types of yoga focus more on certain parts than on others. So in Raja Yoga, we focus on all 8 parts. And really, I'm going to do a separate video about what those 8 parts are. But really, just to sum them up, yoga is about self-awareness. And really, the postures, the shapes that you see people doing, and you think of that as yoga, standing on your mat and you pull your leg up, that is just one of the 8 parts of yoga. Another one of the 8 parts that we are highlighting on our channel is meditation. And so for yoga practitioners like myself, yoga and meditation really go hand in hand. There's almost never a time that I practice yoga without also meditating. And so really yoga is just about you. It is about learning about yourself. And so for instance, if you are in a class in a yoga studio, or if you're watching a yoga video online and you're following the teacher, something that might happen is that you might judge yourself and compare yourself to that person and say oh, look at them, I don't look like them, or I'm not as good as they are. And really what yoga is about is taking care of ourselves. So we shouldn't be mean to ourselves in that way. And we should kind of just observe those thoughts as they come up and use that as a way to learn about ourselves. Because just like sports, for instance, with basketball, you have to practice, right? The first time you step out on the basketball court, you're not going to be great. Let's be honest. The first time you try yoga, it might not go so well. And so another part of yoga is about self-discipline and persistence. It's about accepting, hey, there's this one pose that I can't do it. Every time I try to balance on one foot, I fall out. And the point is not to give up. The point is to say, that's okay. I can get stronger. I can keep trying. And I can be persistent and learn about myself through those challenges that yoga might present. So really, it's about using that time when you're practicing yoga and meditation as a time to develop those tools of persistence and resilience, so that when you face challenges outside of yoga, off the yoga mat, you can use those same brain patterns and thought processes to say, you know what, I can stick this out, I can keep trying. Yoga really helps you to get to be your best self. So some misconceptions. Yoga is, like I said, not stretching or exercise. It is not about getting sweaty. It's not about putting your leg behind your head. If you can't put your leg behind your head, you shouldn't do yoga. You can't do it. That's not true. Some people, for instance, in yoga class, we sit sometimes cross-legged, like crisscross applesauce. And for some people, that's really hard. Some people that hurts, and they can't do it. So it is about accepting that, right? And making modifications. So you can put pillows under your knees, or you can sit on a pillow, and that'll make it easier. And the more times you do that, the better you will get at the pose, so that sometime, eventually, you might not need those pillows anymore. But it is not an all or nothing thing, which kind of leads us to the idea that yoga is about exploring. You have to be willing to explore and try new things and have an open mind, because there's no right or wrong. So if you can't do a pose, it's okay to try an easier version of the pose until you build the strength to do it, right? Similar to that, when I lead classes in person, I always say to people, because yoga is about self-awareness and learning about yourself, it's in a way, it's about self-care. So if you get to yoga class and you realize, hey, I'm really tired, I haven't been sleeping, I just have to be honest about that. You get to class, and I say to people, if you would rather nap on your mat than do the poses, I would be honored if you would nap in my class. So again, there's no right or wrong. And if you go to a class where a teacher kind of suggests to you that there is a right or wrong, like you have to do it their way, I would suggest that you don't keep going to that class, but that's your personal preference. So finally, yoga should not be painful. If you are in a pose that really hurts you, again, you should try an easier version of the pose. Try a different pose, try a modification. You have to accept where you are in order to get better, because if you don't accept it and you just try the pose that is painful to you, it will actually hurt your body. Now, there is a bit of a caveat there, a bit of a like, hold on. We want to notice the difference between pain and discomfort. So if a pose is uncomfortable, we might want to be like, oh, this is painful, I shouldn't do it, I want to quit, right? And we use it as an excuse. And if it truly does hurt you, please do stop. But if it is just uncomfortable, use it as an opportunity to grow and to use your discipline and your persistence to say, you know what, I can hold on. If I take a deep breath, I will relax and it won't be as uncomfortable. So we have to notice the difference between those things. But overall, I really just want to get across the point that yoga is not strict. Just like meditation, it can happen even in just one moment. It doesn't even have to be like you can only practice yoga on your mat if you do it for at least 5 minutes. It's nothing like that. It is a tool. It is supposed to help you both while you're on the mat and you're reducing stress, and when you get off the mat and you have to go into hard situations. So, for instance, if you go to class and you're stressed out, you're not doing well in that class, or you don't like the teacher, they annoy you or something, your yoga practice can help you to say, I'm going to take a deep breath. I can feel that I'm getting kind of tense and stressed out about this class. Maybe I'm going to draw some neck circles to help myself relax and get that stress out of my body. And then you are more ready to take that class and to do the thing that we have to do sometimes to get through life, right? We have to go to school, we have to go to work, we have to deal with stress. There's going to be stress in our lives. So yoga is a tool that you can use to get to know yourself better, to treat yourself better in times of stress, and to just be your best self. So we're going to post some more videos that you can use to practice yoga on your own. And I will make some more short videos like this telling you sort of the thought processes and the ways that you can use yoga in your everyday life.